Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet that the other stations are tuned into.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. We are so happy to have you with us today. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And with me today is the lovely Diann, Floyd, Boehm. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Thanks. It's great to see you too. I'm happy to be here. And hello, everyone out there.
Oh, Diann, it's always good to connect with you because you've got this incredible energy, you know, all the best people. I've met so many wonderful people because of knowing you. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I feel very blessed.
So what have you been up to since I last saw you?
In the car driving. We drove all the way to from Texas to Georgia for the people who don't know. And then, of course, turned back around and came back home, but did a lot of sightseeing with our youngest daughter. So that was fun and adventurous. Which our guests will love.
Yes, all about adventure. So how is it out there for someone who's been in the house all this time and hasn't gone out on the highway? How are things out there in the world?
I think people are just so happy to be back out in the world and connect with people. I mean, that's what we humans are about, is to be connected and to love one another. At least I would like to think anyway.
Yes, I agree with you. So do tell us about your beautiful friend, Julie Lewis.
It is such an honor, privilege, etc., to have her on our show today. For those who are listening, you are about to hear a dynamic woman who impacted my life. And I just can't even say enough. I'll just share with you real briefly. I was living in Dubai. I was driving down a road called Al Wasl and listening to the radio, because the radio is really big in Dubai. And so I heard this woman's energy in her voice, and she was talking about adventures and the Arctic and helping people. I literally had to pull in to the grocery store, Chorchman's parking lot, and listen to this woman for the next 30 minutes. When I got home, I told my husband, I'm going to the Arctic. And he's like, what? You don't even like the code. And I'll let the rest be when we're chatting together. But if you are looking to discover more about yourself, there's no better person to help you through the adventures and helping others than Julie.
Oh, that's fantastic. And somehow I have a sense, because of the impact you have on me in my life, that I will be doing something with Julie, which she's going somewhere doing something. We talked about it backstage. We talked about it, New York. So
Good.
The three of us will have to get together. That would be fun.
That would be awesome.
All right, let's bring Julie Lewis out. She's joining us from Dubai. Here she is. Welcome.
Hello, live and wired from the United Arab Emirates. It's 8:05 in the evening there. I know it's kind of daytime there on Friday, but it's super, super duper to be connected. And yeah, we need to take Dr. Jacalyn on the road, and we'll go somewhere wild and adventurous and on location.
Yeah, we can film from there for sure.
Yeah,
that would be so awesome.
That would be fun. So, Julie, we were talking backstage, which was really nice. I had an opportunity to actually have a conversation. I try to have that happen, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. But today it worked out, and I just love your energy. And I love the fact that you shared you just moved literally 2 days ago. And here you are. Like, no big deal.
Yes, yeah. Well, Dianne will understand this. I've been living in Abu Dhabi, which is an hour and 10 minutes up the highway, and I've literally come back north, and I'm in Dubai now, where it all started many years ago. So not too far to move, but it's amazing how much you actually accumulate in a short period of time. But at least I was able to shower, dry my hair, get set up in the office, so we're all good, all good.
Great.
Fantastic. I'm just looking at your banner going across, and I really feel the need to read it because we have people on the radio that they're listening and they can't read, and I think it's really pretty impressive. Julie Lewis, live and wired from Dubai, as you already said, so which is amazing. But adventurer, explorer, warrior, sage, speaker, author, facilitator, and passionate advocate for women's health, growing bolder and transformational power. Wow. That says it all, right? I feel like I can see you on top of the mountain, and it's just the mountain is even shaking.
Oh, Julia, it's funny she said that. So tell them how you came up with your name, Mountain High.
Oh my goodness. For my 40th birthday, which is now 19 years ago, I went on an educational trip in 2001 to Malaysia. And when I was on that trip, I saw a gorgeous mountain. And I asked the guide, it was a part of a fam trip, how long does it take to climb that mountain? What's the best time of the year? What's the height, etc.? And he said, April is good. It takes 2-3 days. It's 4,095 meters. I said, that mountain is calling me. I'm coming back, and I'm going to climb that mountain for my 40th birthday. So I went back to Dubai. I managed to persuade 5 other women to come and climb that mountain with me. And on the 7th of April, which is World Health Day, 2002, on my 40th birthday, standing on top of a mountain and a natural high. And I thought, I'm on a mountain, I'm on a high, oh my gosh, Mountain High. That's a really cool name for an organization that will encourage and inspire more women and men to really challenge themselves, to connect with new cultures, to make a difference, to unlock their highest potential and wake up to nature, and out is the new in. It actually took me a year to have the courage to take a leap of faith to leave my full-time job and start Mountain High. And I did that in 2003 in Dubai. After leading 18 women to Everest Base Camp in 2003, that was it. It was this. I was born to do this. My background's in sports science, so I'm used to gyms, tennis courts, squash courts, aerobic studios. But now, mountains, forest, ocean, desert, rivers. There's a big playground out there, and I intend to play in it.
Wow, it's so exciting. I'm filled with energy thinking I could go out there and swim or something like
Yes. Yeah.
Julie, I want to ask you a question and this is coming from me as a person. So when I think about doing a lot of the things that you mentioned, they sound very exciting, but yet there's this fear factor, this little tiny voice that goes, oh, I don't know. How do you overcome that so that you can find your sense of adventure?
Yeah, and I think, especially over this last year and a half, people are exploring their own backyard, so their sense of adventure in terms of appreciation of nature has been really heightened, I believe. And I think, when people sign up for a trip, it's because they want to go to that country, whether it's Bhutan, Africa, South America, the Arctic, Antarctica. So they have a genuine interest in the country. They really want to challenge themselves. Maybe they're going through a transition in their life, and they just need something to really kind of see life through an expanded lens. And so what I do when people sign up for a trip is make sure that, they've got a good brief on, the fitness requirements for the trip, the clothing and the equipment, the skills that they're going to need. So we actually train together as a team. And that really kind of takes a lot away of that, that fear factor. And I think, when somebody really wants to do something and it brings them a lot of joy, it really gives them energy. And when you've got a team around you, and myself that's kind of walked that path, to kind of hold somebody's hand and then let their hand go and just say, welcome to the beautiful world that we live in. So I think, it's a kind of a combination of knowing what the challenge is, what the requirements are, the clothing, the equipment, the training, and the terrain, and to expect the unexpected, and to be able to have the courage, the courage, the brave heart, to take that baby step forward and keep taking those steps. It's the power of the start, basically. And having this optimistic attitude. When I went to climb that mountain back in 2002, I just knew that I would reach the top. I don't know how, but I just thought, whatever it takes, I'm going to reach the top of that mountain, and whether it means I have to come back next year. So, having that optimism, the courage, the confidence, the compassion of your guide, the people, the support. I think Dianne can relate to this, because, when you go dog sledding in the Arctic, which Dianne joined me back in 2008, that's from the sand to the snow, from the hot to the cold, to, instead of driving a car, you've got 6 huskies that are very lively, and that's your only form of transport. So you need to really, really connect with your huskies, be very present in nature, and you learn so much about yourself, others, and nature during the process. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'd love to hear from Dianne about your takeaways from that experience.
Well, Julie, you summed it up so well. The way you prepared us was just unbelievable, especially for me, because I'm a Texas girl. It's very warm, and then living in Dubai for so long, it's very hot, right? And and this was something I had never ever done before. I mean, I was a girl on stage and modeling, and all of a sudden it's like, though I am married to a wonderful man who loves adventure, but this was going to be like huge, and it was going to be. I loved it. Ours was about raising awareness for breast cancer, which was very important to me. And I love giving back. And so that was another part that you do, and helping people. And us as a team, we're doing that. But I have to share with everyone listening, one of the fun things in preparing, besides walking in the sand to help us understand the walking in the snow pace, was we had the unbelievable experience of spending the night in the Ski Dubai, and I tell you, that was colder than the Arctic, and it was so much fun. But it mentally prepared you that you can do this. It's all about a mindset. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, very much so. And, I aim as much as possible to simulate the conditions or the environment that we're going to be in. So obviously living in the United Arab Emirates, it's like, we need some snow. And, Mall of the Emirates has Ski Dubai. It's an indoor ski slope. And I happen to know the marketing manager, and I persuaded her to let us camp and sleep overnight. And it gets to -7 overnight. And it's very different walking in your hiking boots and your different layers from walking on a treadmill or walking outside in the park. So to get used to being in, kind of the base layers, the mid layers, and being in the cold, and how being on snow makes you move differently, and then kind of translating that into, and then I'm going to have a sled, and I'm going to have 6 huskies. So a lot of visualization, and just imagine, how strong and powerful, and how much joy you're going to feel when you're this 360 of a white desert, instead of a sand desert. Yeah,
that's true. And I don't want everything to be about the Arctic, but I will say, because that was a mind-changing experience for me, as well as knowing I was stronger than I ever dreamed I could be. And I came back a different person. But when you took us to this, we rode through the glaciers, which was unbelievable. And I loved my doggies. And I don't know if you remember, I bought them all Texas scarves. So I really do. And you took us way up into the top of the glacier, and it was so incredibly gorgeous and peaceful. And I was amazed at how flat it was in the lake. And do you remember we ate there? Yes. And that's where I said all my prayers for the list of names I had to pray for the people having lost their life to cancer, or they were battling it. And so you just bring so much dynamic to your adventures, and I will be forever grateful to you and honored. But share with them another thing about, then you took us one time into the sand and you go, okay, put these clothes on and go down that hole. And I was like, that hole's like a snake hole. Now you can tell them where we were and Dr. Jacalyn know, because she has to do this.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's possible to do that, but we used to have access to a cave in Al Ain, which is one of the Emirates in Abu Dhabi, and we would literally go through a hole and wiggle through different tunnels, and we knew the route and everything, and there was always a guide at the front and myself at the back, because then if somebody wants to turn round or they need support, etc., I'm there. And you literally have these jumpsuits on and gloves to protect your hands and a hard helmet with a lamp on, and you're just, as Dianne said, wiggling through these little holes and crevices like a little worm. And it's quite an experience, to see how do you respond in that environment, because it's a little bit claustrophobic, but knowing that, if you need to leave quickly, you can. We used to probably go maybe like 20, 30 meters in and down. So it's very, very interesting, because whether, kind of jumping out of a plane, going through the jungle, in the Arctic, climbing a mountain, rafting down a river, it's a huge, it's kind of significant emotional experience, and it's a huge sensory experience in terms of what you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, all at once, so it's a big, big shift from being in the home or the office or the shopping mall or a restaurant, that all of a sudden you're like, whoa, very much neurally alive, really being very, very present in nature, which is, it's the journey of who you become as a result of taking that first step. Yeah, which is, for me, is very exciting to see people transform, from like, oh, I'm not sure about this, to I'm doing it. I've done it. I'm like, oh, amazing. If I can do this, I can do anything. What's next? Bring it on. So, and I think living in this part of the world, there's many, many different nationalities and different age groups, obviously. So many of the trips are being cross-cultural and cross-generational. So you might have somebody in the early 20s and then somebody in the 40s and 50s. And I'm saying this with huge love in my heart, because I'm approaching 60 next year. And people say, when are you going to stop, Julie? I'll say, when I go upstairs for the big, big adventure. So, I think, it's your values. It's not about your age, your nationality, or your gender. It's what's important to you. And for me, health, adventure, wellness, growth, transformation, exploration, helping people untap their potential makes it super, super rewarding. Yeah.
I love the whole idea about overcoming your fears, growing, and also giving back at the same time. I think that's really, truly wonderful.
It is, and many of the projects were linked into women's health, because I'm passionate about women's health, so we did Go Red for Women, linked into heart, Building Better Bones, the 3B challenge, which was about osteoporosis, breast cancer, and actually in 2012 I took a team of 12 breast cancer survivors to Antarctica, and we created a film and a book. So when people say, am I fit enough, can I do this, I say, look at these women. They've gone through mastectomies, single or double. They've gone through all of this treatment, and there they are, kind of kayaking in the Arctic, hiking up the side of the mountain, camping on a shore, so anything is possible. So it's really this, what brings you joy, gives you energy, and saying yes to life, again. And the theme for the 60 Years on the Planet project next April is regenerative. So leaving a place better than you found it. Restorative, restoring our mental and emotional well-being after having our wings clipped, let's say. And rewilding, so reconnecting to nature. And I think that's super, super important on many, many different levels: mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological. And, it's so important, because we are nature. We're not apart from it. We are nature. We're 70% water. The planet is 70% water. We are the world. It's within us. So, super important that we make a difference. I call it MAD, Mad Love, MAD, making a difference, LOVE, lots of valuable experiences. So if you're game for Mad Love, give me a call.
I love that.
Woo! I love
This
that.
is next April, did you say? 2022?
Yes, 2022, I will be celebrating 60 years on the planet. And I was just telling Dr. Jacalyn earlier that my friend is the president of the New York Chapter Speakers Association. She's invited me to speak on the 8th of April. And I said, Jean, do you realize that my 60th birthday is on the 7th of April, which means I need to be in New York before that. So the whole adventure, April 22 to April 23, will start in the Big Apple in New York. So I'll probably be arriving around the 4th of April and stay probably until about the 22nd, because then I fly to Oslo to meet the team for the dog sledding. So plenty of time to do some wild things in and around the US, actually. Yeah.
Plenty of time for Mad Love in New York, it sounds like.
Yes,
So.
yes,
Right.
yes, yeah.
And not just New York City, upstate New York is beautiful, and we have mountains
Yes.
there too. So lots of
Exactly.
exploring for Mad Love.
Yeah.
But all of us must be Aries then, I guess.
Yes. What,
Julie,
7th of
I
April,
forgot you
yeah.
were April birthday because I'm the 13th. Dr. Jacalyn,
I'm the
you're
26th of March. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Good energy going here.
Yeah,
We're going to
lots of
pause
fire.
and take a break and hear from some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. My big adventure one day I'm hoping to do is to hang glide off of a mountain. So maybe climb up the mountain and then go off. Woo!
Oh,
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us on Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diann's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diann's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diann's delightful books and much more at DiannFloydBoehm.com. Visit DiannFloydBoehm.com. That's DiannFloydBoehm.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. You are still watching Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure. I'm here with my co-host, Diann, Floyd, Boehm, and our lovely guest, Julie Lewis. We're so happy to have you. In the first segment, we were just getting introduced to Julie and how Diann and Julie connected with each other and some of the travels and adventures that Julie has led, and the fact that she has mad love helping people across the world for various purposes unlock whatever they've kept inside that's prevented them from finding adventure, at the same time being very philanthropic and helping others. So in this segment, I'd like to focus on the power of women and how adventure can help, in combination, empower women even further.
Yep, sure. I think what adventure and learning new skills and transformation brings, it gives us courage, confidence, clarity, communication, connection, collaboration, basically. And I think it's just the spark, that catalyst for so much to unlock, to see the world from an expanded lens, which I think is really, really important. So the growth that you get purely by being in a different environment, interacting with different people of different cultures, learning about yourself, about others, and about nature is it's like going to school, but on steroids. I mean, it's just incredible. It's a fantastic pathway for success too.
Julie, do you have an adventure that you might recommend, like Adventure 101, where, if somebody's like, oh, climbing the mountain or going out on the white water rafting, what might be a good place to start to kind of get your training wheels on, if that's appropriate? I don't know.
Yeah, and when people say adventure could be learning how to cook Thai food. It could be meditating with monks. It could be wearing a red dress when you always wear black. So it's actually just something that gets you a little bit out of your comfort zone and stretches you. So really, I will always encourage people, walking. We were born to walk. So take a walk in the parks and along the beach. Swim, kayak, some of these kind of basic activities that build up, so it's this kind of progressive adventure. You do a local hike and then you think, well, I want more. I want to hike for longer. I want to hike higher. Or I want to go to a different country. I want to be through the jungle. So I think it's, the kind of baby steps. So it's progressive adventure. So start with what what you feel comfortable with. Keep adding to those skills. And as Diann mentioned, and many people here are expatriates and they're from different parts of the world. And, they've never gone dog sledding before because they live in this part of the world. And it's just, well, okay, let's trade a basic fitness. Let's find some snow. Let's get used to walking in this gear. Let's visualize, what's it going to feel like. So I think there's a lot that you can do mentally, physically, emotionally, and I say spiritually, because, for me, spirituality is about what brings that fire in your belly, what gives you purpose and vision and focus and clarity around your values, basically. Yeah. So if freedom, exploration, growth, transformation, and living a life that you love is important to you, then, decide exactly what you want. Find somebody who's already done it, who's prepared to hold your hand and coach you through it, walk you through it, and then just go for it. And most people are kind of bitten by the bug and end up taking their kids, their partners, and coming back time after time. I have some clients that have done, more than 12, 15 adventures with me. And even for the next project, 60 years on the planet, I've got people that came on a trip with me 14 years ago. They're saying, yeah, I want to come to Japan. I want to do the Kumano Kodo walk. So, yeah, I think it's kind of crawl, walk, run, isn't it? It's start with what where you feel comfortable, and build on that.
I love that. Crawl, walk, run.
Yes.
But for those who actually want to do straight to run, again, back to mindset, it can be possible. I remember you went on an adventure and some of the women were talking about their adventure. And so people who are listening, I don't want you to think, oh, you have to be a certain way, you need to have some muscles or whatever. This particular woman, she was amazing because she had never gone on an adventure. She was just like me. She heard you, and then it was like you said, fire in the belly, like, by God, I'm going to do this. And she said, I never walked in my life. And she did base camp, and she was over 100 pounds overweight, she said. And I was just listening to her, and she said, I just had to go a little slower, but Julie was so kind and worked with us and blah, blah, blah. And so she said, I can do it. And she said, not only do I know I can do this, I have done it, and I am now willing to be healthy so that I can be on more adventures. And I just thought, wow. So I just want to throw that in there about it's incredible, the transformation, and walk, crawl, run. I love that.
Yes.
People are like me, even if you're overweight, it was like, let's just run, let's go for it.
Well, it gives you a kind of an added incentive, doesn't it? It's not just training and I'm training, I'm going to the gym, or I'm doing this because I want to lose weight. I'm getting fit, I'm gaining health, I'm getting leaner and stronger, so that I can climb a mountain, ride a bike, take horse riding lessons. So you can use this body that we've been given, this vehicle, and so that we're building our strength, our endurance, our flexibility. And you can relate to this, Dr. Jacalyn, because of your yoga practice, your meditation. So it's not just about moving all the time. It's the mindset, it's that flexibility and finding a way. There's always a way. When people say, oh, I'd love to do that, but ... and it's like, well, okay, let's focus on some solutions. Maybe you can ask one of your friends to help out with your kids while, with your husband and things. So, there are a few things, I can't leave my job. I couldn't leave my kids. It's, I've never done that before. And then you just kind of focus on the solutions and you find a way. And then people come back and it's just like, the kids are saying, my mom went to Everest Base Camp, and taking their mom into school to do a show and tell, So all of a sudden your mom or your sister or your friend is this role model that inspires other people to think, oh, I could never do that. Is that, well, they're not extreme athletes. They're not, bearded men with beanies on, because people think an explorer is a man with a beard, and an ice axe. It's like, no. You could wear your lipstick and your lashes and you could be out there in your coordinated gear. And the thing is to actually enjoy, and joy is a big, big word for me because it's the highest vibrational frequency, and I talk about it a lot. Does this bring you joy? And if it does, then follow your bliss, follow your heart. And if it's not, that's not for me, I prefer to do XYZ, that's totally fine. So that, the adventure is part of my work, and then the speaking and the facilitating programs on resilience and the books, etc. So this is very, very much an integrated approach to well-being, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
I can see why you pulled over in the parking lot, Diann.
I know, incredible, right? Just incredible.
Yeah.
But you said something very important too, and by doing this, you discover more about who you are. And earlier you also mentioned the backyard. Our backyard is more than just going out to dinner or watching television. The backyard is nature, and it's huge, and you can decide how big you want your backyard to be. And Julie, you've actually, tell her about your swim adventure. I watched you the whole time. I thought a shark's gonna get her, a shark's gonna get her.
Oh my gosh, do tell.
Yeah, the 15 years after I first climbed Kota Kinabalu, I got the message the first time, like, I'm on a high mountain high. And I went back to climb that same mountain because I was looking for, there's something else I need. There's a transition. There's something else. Let me go to that mountain and see what the message is this time. And that was when I was 55. And the message was very clearly water. It was pouring it down with rain. we reached the summit, and then when we came back to the guest house, people said, "Oh, have you been to this mountain before?" I said, "Yes," and I said, "This time the message was very strongly about water." And there was a guy there that said, "Have you ever swum the English Channel?" And I went, "No." Maybe that's what I need to go and do. So basically, I came back here. I did some research. I registered for a team swim. I found 4 people to swim who consequently, when they realized what they had to do, no wetsuits, spend time in Dover, train, etc., they kind of backed off. And I put this deposit down. So I thought, okay, let me see if I can swim myself. So I went to the UK. I found myself a swimming coach. Instead of a 2-hour qualifier, I had to do a 6-hour cold water qualifier, which I did in June 2018. I rented a caravan. I lived in Deal. I swam every day, ate like a horse, and a very long story short, I didn't make it. After 4 hours of swimming in the dark, my boat pilot said, "No, you're not going to make it to France." The tides, I booked to swim on a neap tide. And because of the weather and adverse conditions, I ended up going on something called a spring tide, which means the water is higher and it's faster. And the tide was stronger than my arms. And instead of going across, I was getting taken up the coastline back to where all the ferries come out of Dover Port, which is not good at all. But what I learned about this, because I was very disappointed. There's always tears, whether it's tears of joy because you've completed something or tears of sadness. And I thought, 2 out of 3 people don't make it. I trained for 5 months. Some people train for years and years and still don't make it. So I did a massive reframe on it. So it is a little bit of unfinished business, but there are lots and lots of lovely places to swim. I'm not discounting the English Channel, but there's cleaner, healthier waters and less treacherous. It's one of the busiest shipping lines. So maybe I'll find some nice crystal clear blue water without any sharks or jellyfish but it actually reignited my joy of swimming. And it's actually, the topic of my next book, not about swimming, but it's going to be called Spirit of Water. Because what I found is that when I became the water, instead of resisting and just be the water, then it became easier. So I would say in my mind, be like water. And I'd visualize myself being a dolphin and, my breathing and everything. But for me, if somebody said you're going to swim 6 hours in cold water just to qualify for something, I said, are you kidding me? And then 4 hours in the dark, when you really can't see the bottom or where anything is, then I amazed myself. The average age of a channel swimmer is 36 and I was 56, but I thought the water doesn't know my age. I'm just another body in the water. So they don't know. You shouldn't be in here. You're 56, So, and I actually, in a strange kind of way, I enjoyed it. But it was, it was like that disappointment because I'd done a 10-hour training swim about 3 weeks before. So I knew I could swim for 10 hours. And then at 4 hours, it was literally bonk back on the boat. But, hey, what? I live to tell the tale. It's better to be alive and disappointed than dead. I can do much more while I'm disappointed and think, let's turn this around. What did I learn from this,
That is an incredible story. So unrelated, you got this vision that you needed to go and do something in water. You weren't a swimmer. You left where you were, went to the UK, hired a coach, and started to learn how to swim. And then you signed up for a 6-hour challenge in the cold water in the dark. That says a lot about you. You're very brave. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Because you hit on something. I don't want to say I'm terrified, but we're on the water and I'll take my paddleboard out. But if I fall in the water, I am going to be completely out of my mind with fear. But I do it because I am. But to do what you did, I can't even honestly ever imagine that. Diann, could you?
No, that's why I was watching her on Facebook all the time, going, okay, where's she at today? What is she doing? And you know what? I don't see it as not completing in the way. I see that you just inspire us once
You did
more.
it. You
Just
did
like,
it.
I mean, how many people? I mean, think how many people are on this planet, and how many people say, "I'm going to do the English Channel." Like,
That's
Yeah.
fun.
I woke up today and thought, I'm going to do the English Channel. And look what you did. And
Next time, take the ferry. It's much easier. Take the ferry.
Julie, do you remember at the time that you were swimming in the English Channel, what was going on in your mind? Are there thoughts, or is it basically robotic? How does that work? Because I have no idea.
I literally just had this mental motivation where for every hour, because after an hour you tread water and they pass you a water feeder and you take in some liquid and some fuel. So I had, I planned that it was going to take me 15 hours to swim. And so I had 15 soundtracks in my head, because you can't listen to music. So like my parents, their favorite song was, what's it? You're just too good to be true. Can't keep my eyes off of you. So that was their favorite song. So that I had a picture of my parents that my coach was hanging over the side. I couldn't see because it was pitch black. But my first hour was swimming for my parents, then for my sister, then for my brother, then for, so it was for special people that were significant for me and what was their favorite soundtrack. So I had that, and it was just breathing, and just be with the water. Don't think about, what's coming up, jellyfish, waste from the big ships or, anything like that. It was just really being in this zone and becoming one with the water and think I'm safe, I'm guided, I'm protected. The water gods are with me. I must say after the third, about 3.5 hours in, I thought, I don't feel as if I'm going very far. I don't feel as if I'm heading in the right direction, because the water was very, very strong current. So it was taking me this way. So however strong, I have to be sure, however strong I was, it just wasn't enough on the day. So it's kind of quite interesting. But I think, your mind is so powerful. You can use it as your, to master it, or you can use it to kind of put the fear of God into you. And I just decided, there's a boat at the side of me. My coach is looking over me. I have a support swimmer that's on the boat that's ready. There's, I'm safe. I'm protected. And funnily enough, I'd gone to see, because I'm very interested in the esoteric world, I'd gone to see an incredible woman called Mary, who worked with crystals and shamanic practices and everything. And she gave me some crystals to put in my swimming costume. You'll laugh when I tell you this. I made a little hole in my costume, put them in because it was double lining, and it went straight down right between my legs. And I couldn't get them back, so I was swimming the English Channel with carnelian, jasper, all kinds of crystals in my costume, around my what. That's quite a story, and of course, the tradition is when you actually make it across the channel, and you in France, then you pick a pebble off the beach in France, and the guys put it down their trunks, and the women put it down their costume. But I already got mine, but I'll just have to go back to France again. It was so funny. And I still have the costume, and the crystals are still there. I cannot get them.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow, I've never met anyone who's done what you've done. I'm just in awe.
I think, whether it's, through writing books, through what you're doing is amazing. 18 live shows, broadcasting, changing outfits, bing, 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 co-hosts. We're all amazing in our own, way. And what you see in somebody is what's in you, but in a different format and a different theme. Look at Diane's great books. When I met her, you were just on that journey, and and I've just met you now, and I just look 18 shows, wellness universe, behind the green screen. Wow. But obviously you've got 3 Aryans in the room. What do we expect?
We ram our way through.
Look out, we're coming through.
Yeah. There's smoke coming out my ears.
Julie, what are some of you talked about when we turned 60, but what are some of the other big adventures that are still on your to-do list?
Yeah, Japan, definitely. There's a walk called the Kumano Kodo, which is the equivalent of the Camino de Santiago, but the Japanese equivalent of it, which is a Buddhist Shinto trail. Iceland, Finland, definitely going back to Antarctica. And I'm looking at countries that I haven't been to before, but also looking at sacred sites where there's a special energy. For example, Mount Shasta. I've never been to Mount Shasta. So those are the kind of places that I'm looking at now. So the goal is by the 1st of November, 2021, which will be 19 years since I started Mountain High, to actually say, this is your 12-pack, not your 6-pack, your 12-pack adventure series starting in April, and choose one. And so it could be an experience or an adventure or a journey to sacred sites, energy vortexes, trails that I've never done before, countries that I've never visited before, and with people that are just, maybe they're celebrating a zero limit birthday, whether it's 30, 40, 50 or 60, or the concept of regenerative, restorative and rewilding after this time period that we've all experienced, is to really go out and be in nature and see a whole new world. Yeah.
I was just going to sing A Whole New World, but I decided not to. So.
Yes.
Diann, what adventure? Diann, what adventure do you have planned? Maybe it's just in your mind right now, but what's up for you next?
Actually, my husband and I have been discussing about when Canada opens. Cape Breton has some incredible hiking places, and I love waterfalls. And he and we like to do a lot of rafting. And I'm at level 6 now. So and so I'm pretty proud of that.
How many levels are there, Diann? I have no idea.
8.
So,
wow, good for you.
So anyway, that's one of the things we're looking at. And I keep thinking maybe Julie would come put together a group of American women, and maybe we could go explore the Arctic or something in Alaska and so forth. That would be really kind of fun. I've been talking about that for a while, right?
Let's do it. I will definitely be in the States next April, and maybe before. We're looking to see if we can make it over at Christmas, but I think we definitely have to stay connected and have a Dr. Jacalyn, Diann, and Jules on the road, wild women's adventure.
I love it. I'm there.
That would be fabulous.
Sometimes you go to Colorado, though, right?
Yes. Colorado, the U.S. Actually, I'd signed up for the Gathering of the Shamans in Sedona, and it's actually this week. But I just had to let it go. So inshallah, as we say here, God willing, inshallah, I will be able to make that next year. But yeah, I think, there's so many incredible places on the planet that, there's much more to be seen and experienced. Yeah.
It's that background backyard, I guess.
It is, and when people say, what could I do? I say, just walk barefoot in your garden. That's an adventure. That's grounding. That's earthing. Go and swim. Take your kids to the park. Go and hug a tree. Look at the flowers. Look at all the fractals of different patterns. Listen to the birds sing, and it's coming back to your senses, because we're often running on autopilot and we ignore all of this magic that's around us. And you think, close your eyes. What can I hear? What can I smell? I can taste salty water on my lips. I'm close to the sea. Oh, I can feel the sand between my toes. Or, I can smell cut grass. So, it's, if you look for it, it's all around us, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, I'm into that. Julie, how can people get in touch with you?
The best way is through the World Wide Web. www.julie-lewis.com. And then it's obviously got all the social media handles there. And that's probably the best way to find me, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and Moving Mountains, Discover the Mountain in You. So I'm I'm here.
She's not hiding, that's for sure. You can find her and she'll help you plan your next great adventure.
That is
Thank
true.
you.
Yeah.
And Julie gives great keynotes as well. You're a
Mm.
great
Oh,
speaker.
Yeah.
great. Well, we might have to have
Stories.
you in Orlando in October of 2022 for our big event.
That sounds good to me. October
She's writing it down.
2022.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'll
Fabulous.
write it down. Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll definitely
resilient.
stay in touch.
Yeah,
Any-
for sure.
yeah.
All
right. Julie, thank you so much for being here today. It's been an honor to meet
pleasure.
you, and congratulations on everything that you've accomplished. It's truly a first for me, meeting anyone who's done what you've done. So,
Ditto. Thank you so much. What a powerful trio in the room, hey? Wow, the power of three. Woo!
I can't wait till we're actually in person together. That'll be amazing.
Sparks will fly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Bye. Dianne, you were spot on once again. She is an incredible woman and role model, just not sitting around watching television eating bonbons, right?
No, and she actually has a beautiful story of how it all began that you'll have to hear one day. But for me, I've always thought of Julie as an angel on earth, because she isn't about herself. She is about helping others, as you've heard, and she really, really means that. And it's very rare to come across a spirit as beautiful as hers. So I feel really lucky that she was on the show today.
Yes, I do too. And you're also a beautiful spirit. So let's not forget that. You're always out there helping other people. And by the way, in the beginning of this show, I didn't ask you to talk about what you're doing today. And I'd love to hear that. You've been traveling, but do tell us about what's going on in your life and about how we can purchase your books.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yes. So actually, today I decided I need to get out into the garden. The gardens are calling me, and I enjoy planting flowers and making sure the flowers that are there, the trees or whatever, that they have nice, fresh nutrients. So, and I get a lot of inspiration in doing that. So I will be out there. But also, I have been working on different books in my mind, or stories, I should say. And that's where I'm going to go and just let the words come to me as they need, and then turn around and write them. And actually, I'll be working on 3 Better You presentations as well.
Oh, good. I was asking you when you're coming back. Okay, I was thinking.
So, there you go. Well, I need a lot of inspiration.
And Dianne, what's the best way that people can find you? Your website?
Absolutely. Aren't we so blessed in the world to be connected with the web? I'm sure the people who first came up with it in the 1900s would be just amazed if they could see what their envision of connecting people through their work did and where we are today. So you can reach me at DiannBoehm.com. Actually, that's one of them. It's DiannFloydBoehm.com, my maiden name. DiannFloydBoehm.com. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here. Great to see you. And I can just picture you in your garden, walking barefoot maybe, and then coming back to write. So
I love digging in the dirt. Actually, when Julie was speaking, it reminded me of how much I, even as a child, loved to make mud pies. And Mama was like, I got you some Play-Doh. It's this new stuff. And I think I just dated myself. But anyway, I'm like, no, I'm very happy with my mud.
Well, I remember Play-Doh, so I'm right there with you. So.
Yeah.
All right, my dear friend, I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you again for being here. It's great seeing you.
Thank you. Same for you. And let's be in touch. And again, thank you, Julie. And thank you, everyone out there listening. We love you.
All right. Bye. Thank you. Wow, that was amazing. As I mentioned, I never met anyone who's accomplished what Julie has accomplished. So if you are an adventurer and you want to share your story, we'd love to hear from you. Go to drjacalyn.com and book your session. We've got another show coming up, which is going to be fascinating. We actually have a fertility nurse who is in Greece, and one of her patients is going to come on the show. The patient is actually here in the United States. So that's at 1:30 Eastern time, which is 6:30 British Summer Time. And then we have pet psychic Amina and her guest, Alex Utterman. And that show starts at 3:30 Eastern time, which is 8:30 British Summer Time. And then finally, we are going to close out the day with stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. And Robert J. Moore, who has gone from the streets to top stages, will be here as my guest. So do join us. We really appreciate you being here again, as I've mentioned, and please spread the word. Go over to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and subscribe and let the rest of your network know to do the same. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.